Whether you find great pieces of furniture in a flea market or at a fine auction, often they need a little work. So I'm here in New York City with an expert restoration artist, Eli Rios, and he is going to give me some tips on restoration.
Hi, B. Welcome. Welcome to our place here.
Thank you. What are you going to show me today?
An example of two doors that come off a cupboard. They were bought at, I think, a garage sale.
So a client brought them in.
Client brought these in, and it has what happens to most antiques. It has a polyurethane finish on there that was brushed on.
The polyurethane makes it a little heavy and kind of thick looking.
And it's meant to put on floors, not on furniture. So when we get something like this, we have to take off that polyurethane. It's not a reversible finish, so it's better to put on something that may have been on here originally, which is probably shellac.
Let's get started.
The first thing that we need to do is just go over the safety factors here. You should wear gloves and goggles.
Right.
But air is the most important. You need to be outside. Cover your eyes, cover your hands.
We're here in the studio, and of course, it's well ventilated because you do this all the time.
Correct. We are going to be using a stripper. It's a commercial stripper that you can get at any hardware store. It's a paste stripper. We use these brushes. They're $1 at the store. The natural bristle. They don't dissolve with this. Well, here's the brush.
Okay, and just get started?
Yeah, start applying some of that on there. Be generous with it.
Be generous.
Now, the thick paste
I can see it
remover works pretty quick. There's a lot of other removers that are very liquid, and they evaporate quickly. It takes longer to do the job. The next step is scraping it off. See how easy it comes off? Push it right onto the newspaper. So we will use a little brass brush to get into the little corner stem.
Okay, because it's a little tougher in here, right?
Yeah, try rubbing that. Good, scrub it. There you go, it's coming right off. Steel wool now gets the rest of that out. 2-0 steel wool, like this. And now we're rinsing it with this. Denatured alcohol. Now rub behind me with the steel wool right after this.
All right.
If you're doing a large piece, do small sections at a time. That way, if you want to stop, or if maybe the fumes get to you, you can stop and have one area finished rather than having an entire piece covered with a remover, which you don't want to have.
Right.
I have one already stripped I want to show you.
Okay.
This is the one that's already finished. But I'm going to change my gloves now. You know, once we finish stripping, we want to get rid of the gloves that have stripper on them.
Oh, okay.
Shellac is the most common finish found on antique furniture, fine furniture. Most people think that they stopped using shellac, but in fact, around 1954, polyurethane comes around, lacquer in 1917, but before that was all shellac. On antique furniture, we like to keep on using shellac.
So those are shellac flakes. Where are they from?
A little insect that grows on the lac tree, beetle. Actually, it exudes this covering on the branches, and inside that it puts its little babies. They grow up, they fly away, and what you have left over is this covering called shellac on the branches. And in India, they harvest this. The shellac dissolves in denatured alcohol. This is 85% grain alcohol, and then the rest of it is called wood alcohol. This material, all right, you will get this at the website.
Which is?
Ecrios.com. That's ECRIOS.com. You usually get a container. You fill it up 2/3 with the flakes, and you add denatured alcohol until it's 1 inch above the flakes. Stir it every once in a while. The following day, it dissolves, and it's sort of a pea soup consistency. That is your thick base shellac. That then is strained into another container, and then we thin it down a little bit. You wind up with this here after it's thinned.
So what's the difference between this and the shellac I can get in a hardware store?
In the hardware store, they have prepared shellac. The problem is that once this is mixed, it lasts about, let's say, 6 months, and then it begins to spoil. You'll put it on an object, and you'll notice that a day later it's still tacky. That means it's spoiled. It really cannot be used. It will never dry. The shellac is applied on the inside of the cheesecloth. I have one all prepared for you. We folded this in half twice, half again. Roll it in so it can have a point. You tuck in the tail, sort of. See, now we have a point.
I see.
Over here.
Okay.
Give that a try. Go right into the corner and go around. Now this goes on, if you were to count coats, you could put it 10 or 20 coats in 10 minutes. But the thing is, since it's drying in between, they're building up. You want to put thin layers that dry quickly, It bonds better, and it looks better at the end.
It looks beautiful. Now, you're the chief conservator here.
Yes.
Explain a little bit about your background.
Well, I've been in the business about 30 years. My uncle and father were both in the business. Sotheby's opened up a restoration place, and I worked there for almost 10 years. While there, I was inspired to go back and study again, so I went to the Smithsonian. They had a program for conservators to learn chemistry and so forth. And I was hired as the applied chemistry teacher of historic materials at Fashion Institute. And there I stayed almost 10 years while having this place. Some of the best apprentices come here, and then we launch them on their careers.
Well, I'm your
furniture,
apprentice
yes.
for today, so how do we finish this?
If you recall, there was some paint in this area. Now, to continue being conservators,
Right.
we're going to make the paint using shellac. And all we need then is pigments.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Yes, we're going to put good old shellac in here. Then we'll wet the brush a little bit. We'll take the brown, mix it together, and we have paint. You use your finger as a guide, sort of go long strokes like that.
It's a nice shadow detail.
Then we'll wind up looking like this. There it is.
One last step, right?
One more step. We have the shellac on there, which is protecting the wood. Now we have to put wax on there to protect the shellac against humidity. First, we have to steel wool the surface, 4-0 steel wool, to give the wax something to grab onto, because now it's pretty smooth. We open it up, turn it inside out, make sure there are no big shards of steel in there. I'll do that. And up and down a few times, that's it. This is microcrystalline wax. This is paraffin-based wax. It's able to protect this, has no acid, so it can be used on all antique furniture to prevent water from penetrating. Now you take off the excess with this, just rub it.
So how does
Took that
work?
off, now we buff it. Here's the buffing.
Eli, it feels like silk.
Well, it is. It's a silk finish of furniture.
But I guess I have a little more to do, don't I?
You have 2 more panels, and I want you to come back soon so I can teach you some more.
Thank you so much. And for more information about what you've seen today, please visit my website, bsmithwithstyle.com. Gotta get back to work.
Okay.
That's our show for today. Thanks for watching. And remember, whatever you do, just do it with style.